Welcome back, another Down and Back with CornDoug here. I know late getting this out, but after a bunch of connection issues, freak eye injury with Cornhole, and then more connection issues, and just outside of Cornhole life taking charge. We're back after a little bit of a break. I'm probably going to be doing 2 shows this week just to catch up. But we've got some news on ACL regionals, ACL Canada regionals that will come up here in the Toronto area. We had the one Toronto East, which was in Peterborough. Adam put on a great event there. One that was supposed to be in Kitchener actually had a venue issue. Unfortunately, had to cancel, but that will be made up at a later time. And then some upcoming ACL Canada tournaments being in Brampton. Check the ACL Canada Facebook page. Check CornDoug Cornhole. I know Mike wants to get everyone kind of making sure everyone's registered, got their ACL Canada profile up so that you're able to just go in, register. It takes everything, you're like 2 seconds and you're registered. It's really easy to do. So there's that there coming up. Some league stuff. I think with the KW League, I may have finally cracked the top 20 in that league. I'm not sure. I had an off night last night in singles, but hey, you can't win them all. Sometimes you only win one. But so getting on with results from the Peterborough ACL Canada Toronto East regional. This is starting to get a mouthful again, like some of those other tournaments. But Adam, all accounts I've heard, Adam put on a great event down there in Peterborough. Just one of the really great ACL Canada directors. Can't stress that enough, just how good he is at what he does down there. Just a fantastic job. Doubles there. Doubles winners in the advanced doubles was Paul Aiken, Brandon Brown getting the win. Dean Lang and last-minute substitute partner Peyton Clark. Peyton stepping up from the intermediate or competitive where he's usually played to be in the advanced and finishing second, which, and as you will see when I have guests this week, Dean Lang, he's on. Dean and I do talk about Peyton and what he's done in his short time playing, which is great. Then third place in the advanced doubles. You've heard me talk about them here before. Roger and Barb Gould, fantastic throwers out of, I believe, the Peterborough area. And this is not the first time you're going to hear about them as a team or even in singles. So there's that. So, and then competitive. First place going to Kirk Pearson and his partner, my favorite guy out of the Peterborough Cornhole Club, which would be Steve Gibson. So Steve Gibson, Kirk Pearson taking the win. Second, Terry Beauclerk and Brent Sedgwick out of the West Northumberland Cornhole League, which I will be seeing at some point, or anyone else will be seeing at some point in the Southern Ontario Cornhole Series. More on that coming up. Finishing third, Tracy DeCoste and Sean Botello. For that, we moved to singles. Singles, it was Dean Lang picking up first. I talked to him more about that as when I have him on the show here. Brandon Brown finishing second and Jamie Cowan finishing third. Over on the competitive side, they just ran a competitive with that there, being Sean Botello getting first, Steve Gibson getting second, and Peyton Clark finishing third. Another top finish for Peyton Clark, which is fantastic to see. I think he may have to take a week or so off of Cornhole here. Wife Pamela may be making him take that time off, as they are expecting their first child, probably may even have already happened by now. So then in the blind draw, they did do a blind draw at the end of the day. Brandon Brown and Kyle L picking up the win for that. Second place going to Sean Botello and Adam Hubbard. And then the third place going to Jamie Cowan and Phil Tavares. So that's that for the results from the Peterborough ACL Canada Regional. Like I said, one coming up November 6th in Brampton. Check out CornDoug Cornhole. Check out ACL Canada Facebook page. I will be there at some point in the day, not sure when. So if anyone needs an easy win, I'll be there. That ACL down, they had the uh, down around Mount Rushmore had their big open this weekend. Some great matches I got to see. Couple of new players. I want to say Peyton Mears and Kobe Costanza taking the win over in doubles over Johnny Cox and John Fuentes. Singles, oh, what can I say? If you watched it, Tony Smith dominated the day. It was just incredible. He had a great final against Storm Hogue. That it was kind of back and forth at the start. Tony then took over, and I think this is his second year as a pro. I think is going to be a big year for Tony. He struggled a bit his first year. I think he was doing a lot of traveling there, but I think he will take it down and be a lot better his second year as a pro. So that's all of our news stuff. Sox, Southern Ontario Cornhole Series. If you haven't checked that page out on Facebook, check it out. All of the league matchups are set now for the regular season portion. Just working on a venue for the end of season. I know some of the teams have already set up their dates of when they're going to be playing. Still, I know for the two Kitchener teams and the Waterloo team, we're still trying to secure a proper venue to be able to have for that. But it should be some great times. I know with the Waterloo team, we've got I think we've got Aurelia away, and we have Peterborough coming here. So there should be some great fun times with that, and and we're looking for sponsorship. If you're in Ontario, I know we've got a couple in the works for some sponsorship. But if you're in any kind of sponsor, want to help out in the Ontario area, Southern Ontario area to be exact, send us a message on Facebook, email Matt privately, and we'll try and work something out. But speaking of sponsors, I can't do this without the sponsors. Octane Cornhole, octanecornhole.com. As usual, discount code CornDoug will get you the 10% off. That same discount, CornDoug, over at myearfund.com. Get yourself a good set of earbuds. Get yourself a Bluetooth speaker. Earbuds like these. These ones here work very fantastic. Even work well in a hockey arena when you're watching your son play hockey. But don't tell anyone I was doing that. And trying to watch Cornhole at the same time. Discount code CornDoug, get you 20% off of that. Then head over to jccornhole.com. Jamie's got super busy, just huge order. You're going to be seeing JC Cornhole boards across Canada here coming very soon from coast to coast. I know, probably looking at an event place in BC right through to you'll probably be seeing them in Bedeck, Nova Scotia as well too, in Cape Breton, seeing JC Cornhole boards there. Then if you're in Alberta, Edmonton, Sherwood Park to be exact, I know you've got a couple leagues that are in around there that are that I've been talking with, and I know Darren said he will travel. Sierra Home, Sierra Property Inspections. Check Darren out as I've always said here. Portion of any of the home inspections he does goes to a cancer hospice for children in the Edmonton area. So check him out, sierrahome.com. Darren will not steer you wrong. He will tell you how to where to store your cornhole boards properly. Talking about that, he's going to be getting that in. So enough of me talking. We'll get to the man who's probably one of the strongest singles players right now in Ontario. I'm gonna say ACL Canada. I know he's got some plans to start doing some traveling, but here's my talk with former KW Cornhole League member, now throwing. Well, you'll see he's now doing the league tour in the western part of the province. But here is my talk with Dean Lang. And as promised off the top of the show, I'm going to say the hottest singles player, the hottest playing singles player in Canada right now, for ACL Canada at least, Dean Lang. Dean, how you doing?
Doug, I'm doing great. Moved out to Ridgetown a month and a half ago, and I'm loving the new place.
Well, not saying I'm glad you moved, but I'm getting a little more wins now that you moved on to Ridgetown.
Hey, whatever I can do to help.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's and then like I said, you've kind of you've really kind of taken the singles game and the doubles game as well too. You've kind of stood at that on, but your singles game has just been on fire lately.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I believe in, at least on Canadian soil, I haven't lost a singles tournament in an entire year. I mean, I'm really proud of the way I've come along and the way I play in these tournaments.
Well, exactly, and the first two with being in Simcoe and with the St. Clements Cornhole Cup, you kind of took the long road around there to having to double dip in the final, and then the first ACL Canada regional that we've been able to have, you kind of went right through the front door on that one.
That's right. I mean, I'm okay with losing the king seat game and coming back and double dipping, because I know one game at a time. I know it's 2 out of 3 no matter how I do it. And I mean, I've done that against Brandon before. We've done 2 out of 3 series where he took the first and I came back and took the second and the third. So, I mean, I always have the confidence that I can win in any situation.
Well, I think that's the thing, and I'm not sure if we talked about this. I touched on it when we talked before after you went in Peterborough, but it's almost like you've kind of got that, been there, done that. That you've kind of got that confidence that you know what your ability is, what you can do.
Absolutely. That's the biggest. That's a huge edge for me in a lot of games. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of people that when they stand on the opposite side of the box from me, they don't play their best game. They know they have to play their best game to win, and that's to have a chance to win, and that's intimidating for them, and they end up not actually even coming close to that.
Well,
Whereas me, I just know, I just have to play well. If I throw a bag off the board, I'll overcome it. And, because I mean, I've practiced my airmail game diligently, and I mean, my strategy is to go bag for bag, but if people want to block, I can airmail. So, I mean, whatever game anybody wants to play, I can engage in it.
well, and that's the thing that I've noticed in your game with the aerial, because I've been able to watch you kind of come along, and it was before it was just you were really working on that slide shot to get in, but that airmail is really in the last couple of games, the finals at least, I've been able to see you put that in with more accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I've worked on that. That's a huge part of my practice routine. When I practice, I'll do ghost games, sort of just empty board, like, and then I'll do airmails. I'll put 2 blockers up, half a bag, side by side, half a bag from the hole, and I airmail over them. So play against, say, ghost 5 or ghost 6, but if you knock one of those bags in, you tack 2 points onto the ghost score, and I practice that way. So you want to make sure you don't put those in, and you want to make sure you hit your shots.
Yeah.
Because I mean, practicing airmails with an open board is, it's not realistic. It's not a real simulation of what you'd ever do in a game.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and we'll talk about some other stuff that's almost like that, because you got another big thing coming up here soon too. But going back to Peterborough, you also your partner that you had in Peterborough for the bring your own partner part of it really kind of stepped up his game, and I know you and I both have seen him right from the start, being Peyton Clark, helping you get a second place in Peterborough at that first ACL regional. How big was he in that tournament?
He was huge. I mean, he more than exceeded my expectations for someone who's only been playing 3 months. I mean, he had his spots where he was a little bit shaky, but for a guy who's been playing 3 months, he amazed me, especially in the championship matches. You know, um, yeah. What else can I say? I mean, I'm just happy that Jerry was willing to let me play with him. I really, he didn't have to do that, and that shows says a lot about what kind of guy he is, what kind of how much he really does care about growing the game. I guess giving Payton an opportunity to to get into a big match, and Payton delivered,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's going to give him nothing but confidence.
Oh, and Payton with our last few. Now that we've switched into back to indoors at the Boston Pizza in Kitchener, there, that he's been actually getting podium finishes almost weekly now. He's in there. He's getting money shots with an airmail. So it's I'm not sure about you, but just I love the way seeing that new player come in and just kind of just go all in, for lack of a better term.
Absolutely, Doug. I love it. I mean, that's how we're going to grow the game. I mean, growing the game it's part of it is getting more people to play, but the other part of it is getting people to elevate to the level that Brandon and I are on, so that maybe someday we can go down to the States and we can put a viable competitive team in the Conference Cup. And I mean, those guys like Payton are going to be the guys that are going to help us get there. And I love seeing guys develop. And I mean, he's been playing. He plays Kitchener. He plays Guelph. He played Newmarket one week when there was nothing in Kitchener. Mm-hmm. He went to Toronto one week when we were still at the odd and it was canceled by rain. He'll go anywhere to play, and I love that.
Yeah, I think his wife may have something more to say about that if in the near future, once that first KW Cornhole baby comes. But we're talking about growing the game now. Like you've said, you've made the move to Ridgetown, and you've got a couple other new leagues that you're being able to see to get out and play. So how are things in Wallaceburg, in St. Thomas, and I know you're now over in Essex as well, taking over for Derek Freeman while he can't play.
That's right. I mean, they're all good times. St. Thomas is it's only about 20 people a week, and it's all guys, but it feels it's a good atmosphere. It's a little cramped because it's a small area for 20 people, but there's some quality players there. I mean, Roger's come a long way the last 6 months. Jeff and his son Morgan, they're good. Jim Dodge, man, I mean, he's improved a lot as well the last 6 months. I'm sure there's other people I'm missing, but I know there's also a lot of new players there that are they've got the right attitude. They got the same kind of attitude Payton has, that they want to learn. They're always asking me questions about why I do things that I do, which A, shows that they're paying attention, and B, shows a lot of interest in improving their own game. And I mean, I always got time for anybody who's gonna take that approach. Now, Wallaceburg, I mean, that's a lot of fun too. There's a lot more females at Wallaceburg, and there's one guy that we play play 3 or 4 games every week together as our warm up for the league. And man, I can't. Out of our last 10, I think he's actually beaten me twice. Man, I mean, before, like when we first started, I was 21-3, 21-5 every time. Mm-hmm. And Tim's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I mean, there's a lot of other steady players there, like Travis and Al. And I think our Sox team is going to make things very interesting because, I mean, Lisa and Carrie are dedicated and motivated as well.
Exactly. And I know. I'm glad my Sox team did not draw Wallaceburg in any of our things. So we may have to wait to see you until the final. But yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And as far as Windsor goes, I mean, that's a hell of a time. It feels like a party there, and I love it. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of quality players there, but everybody's having a great time, and you just love being a part of something like that. Jason, and I like the idea now that I can partner with Jeff in league. I've always wanted to partner with him. I've partnered with Jason in the past, and we're going to keep partnering in the future. We're going to be at Wallaceburg on the 13th, and Jeff and I are going to be partnering in a couple of tournaments in Windsor in November as well. And I again, there's some people there that are wanting to play with me, wanting to see how they stack up, wanting to get better. And again, I'll never turn down a game against anybody. I mean, there's always something I can do to help myself get better. And I I love helping other people get better. I mean, again, comes back to growing the game. People having, I mean, I'm all for people wanting to have fun here. I mean, cornhole is a great place to just have fun. But if you want to, if you're motivated to get better, I got all the time in the world for you to help you any way I can.
Exactly. And so now, kind of going back a little further, some of our other people that are maybe listening or watching in the States may have known you from your trip down to you got to go down to the ACL Finals down in Rock Hill. So your first time down at a big event like that. Your thoughts on that experience?
Well, I mean, honestly, it was kind of a mixed bag. There was some things, there were some really good things, and there were some things that weren't as good. I mean, there were some pros that didn't really give me the time, and I was a little bit taken aback by that. Like, I mean, because that's not how I am, and I just I don't know what I mean. I guess it's just that's just the week and the atmosphere, and I'm not sure. I can't really get in. I can't really speak for anybody else. But I mean, man, getting to play in that big court with Brandon against Peyton Lopez and Caleb Franklin, that was a hell of an experience. And funny thing, we actually played a warm-up game against them before that tournament started, and it went right down to the wire. I had a four-way clog when we were on 17, three of my bags. If those four bags go in instead of clogging, we win that match. But that was the warm-up game, and I told Brandon, that that's the cream of what we're going to expect to play in this tournament. Those guys, and it turned out to be right. We played them in the bracket final, and to lose that first game 21-20 was heartbreaking. I mean, Peyton's bag rode the edge of the board, and I don't know how it held on, but it did. And second game, I think we were just kind of in shock. I mean, we really didn't play well at all. But that was a hell of an experience. And then I can't say I got as much sleep as I would have liked, and we had to get up for some really, really early flights. So that was difficult. There was a whole ordeal where my bag almost got stolen. I thought it was stolen, and I mean that's a whole story in its own right.
Yeah.
I mean, long story short, some random guy pulled the bag out of the lost and found box and returned it to me. But yeah, that kind of that made my couple hours on Friday night a pain, because I had to spend an hour watching the surveillance video. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I can't say I had as much fun as I would have liked, but getting a chance to meet and play against Danny Seals was tremendous. I mean, we struck up a friendship through the virtual tournament, and we talk every now and again. But getting to play against him, and I mean, I played some really good games. Like after I lost in the singles, because in that tournament I didn't feel like I had my best, and really it was just being tired, not sleeping much that Monday night, and losing my airmail game in a situation where these guys I'm playing against are just blocking and rolling, and you have to be, if you can hit airmails, you can beat them, but if you can't, you're not going to. But then I spent some time just figuring out what I need to do better, and getting to meet Bob Vonch actually helped with that, because he gave me the advice to slow it down. So I needed to think about, okay, how do I do that though? Because my instinct is to go fast. My instinct's always to do everything quickly, to play quickly. That's just sort of how I am. So getting to practice with John Fuentes, because Brandon actually struck up a friendship with him. And I mean, I can't say enough about the time he gave Brandon and Tracy on that trip. I was blown away by that. He went above and beyond what I could have ever expected from anybody as far as that goes. But getting to practice with him, I kind of studied his mannerisms a little bit, thrown on the opposite side of the board, and that kind of gave me a way to put Bob's words into an actual plan, a way to actually slow myself down, and I've made good progress with that.
Well, and and funny enough you say that. That was the one thing I did notice about you, is because seeing you play before you went down, knowing the way you were really kind of like almost like you were like ready to throw the bag, like you were go, like it was always go. But then coming back, you were that more. I was, to me, it looked like you were thinking about your shots a bit more, and then kind of making them count a bit more. But you were just, taking that time to throw that bag, because I think that's a mistake of a lot of the newer players, is that they're just like, I got to throw the bag. I got to throw the bag, instead of just taking that breath and then throwing.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Doug. That that is a mistake a lot of people make. I mean, a lot of this game is mental. It's played between the ears as much as throwing the bag, and there are times where the board gets cluttered, where if you take that second, you can see a shot that you wouldn't be able to see. And I mean, there have been so many times in the last couple of months where I see people on the other side of the board that are just like, how did he pull that shot off? How did he see that? And I mean, it came from taking the time. And the thing that Bob Vonch told me about slowing it down was to get rid of the herky jerky throws. Like, because I mean, if another thing you probably noticed is, 90% of my throws were crisp, and then there was like 10% that were kind of herky jerky, and I feel like I've gotten rid of that through my experience down there as well.
Yeah, which I think all I can say is that when you go down to a big event like that, there's so many more positives you can bring out of it than negatives, because you're seeing so many more people play. You get an advantage point of there's just so much more that is to offer than playing in like a smaller tournament, which hopefully our stuff up here can get bigger, but there's just so much knowledge down there.
That's absolutely right, Doug. There's so much large volume of players, a large volume of high level players, a lot of different styles, a lot of ability that all of that equals a lot more ability to actually learn how to do things better yourself. And that high volume of players means a high volume of losses. Um, I haven't, I mean, like I said, right, I haven't lost a singles tournament here in a year, but I mean, down there, I lost. I mean, I still won more games than I lost, but I lost probably as many games as I had in like 6 months before that, also because we weren't playing a lot.
Yeah.
That was a big contributor. We're not having very many tournaments, but you learn a lot more from losing than you do from winning. And I mean, I knew going down there that there were flaws in my game that really I needed to lose to actually critically examine them and figure out how to be better. Because if what you're doing is always winning, there's no urgency to change.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that, then looking forward here, we've got a couple of big things coming up. I know you are. My scores weren't the best, so you were in there, but the virtual tournament coming up between Canada, ACL Canada, and Australia coming up. How pumped are you to be able to advance into that virtual tournament, because you have had some success in virtual tournaments in the past?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what the Australians have. I mean, I haven't heard much from the Australians, the last couple of years. There's a whole contingent of them went to Pennsylvania in 2019. But there was only one in the virtual tournament we had last December. I don't know where all those guys went. The ones from Pennsylvania in 2019, I don't know where they all went, but I'm definitely interested to see what they have. And I mean, I hope we can pick up our game a little bit. Because I mean, I was a little bit surprised at some of the low scores that some of us were putting up. And I mean, I know personally that I'm excited to play against the Australians, even in a virtual setting, just because they're guys I've never seen before.
Yeah, and it was funny you talk about the scores that we had, and I'm not sure just if it was people getting back into the virtual game, but I'm like, if I would have just thrown my average, I would have had a chance, but instead I threw half of my average like usual, and I'm just there now. They're just to commentate, which is fine with me, but it's just, yeah, in talking with Daniel Turner from down in Australia before, they are all pretty pumped. I know they're a little bit behind us. They're just trying to get their squad together to play, and hopefully we'll be able to get everything going soon. But with that, but then we're back into our live events. I know this week here the federal government up here has kind of opened it up a bit more for us to maybe have some other bigger events. But looking forward, we got the ACL I want to say another Toronto area regional coming up here in Brampton. I believe it's November 6th. So will we be seeing you kind of continue on with your play at that one?
I'm not sure about Brampton yet. The Wallaceburg League is planning a Saturday afternoon league finals, and tentatively it's planned for November the 6th. That's not set in stone, and if it turns out not to be the 6th, then I will go to Brampton. But I mean, I'm gonna go to Windsor on the 7th. They've got a pretty good sized tournament going on down there. Wallaceburg on the 13th. Actually, I'm going to go to Cleveland December 11th. Finally, going to get a chance to play in person with Kerry Mittermiller after we were partners in the virtual tournament. It took us an entire year to actually get together as partners in a tournament in real life. So I'm looking forward to that. And in the new year, I'm planning a pretty ambitious schedule in terms of going to American Opens. And I mean, if this international pro thing plans out, I'll be at the nationals as well.
Exactly. Well, now you kind of did touch on playing with Kerry and that other ACL Pro. I even forget what Todd called it because it's so many words. But you then, did you ever? Because you did play against Rocky in the final. Did you? I know there was a little bit of a group chat going on with you guys. Were you able to converse with him at all? Because I know he was trying to help out a lot of other players that he had seen play.
Unfortunately, we had some correspondence within the group, but we never really got to do any one-to-one correspondence. I mean, I would have been more than interested to hear any critiques he had for my game personally. I mean, he was a veteran of the sport. I mean, he was there pretty much since day one of cornhole being, what we know it today. He's one of the sort of founding fathers of modern cornhole, I guess you could say, in a sense. And I just would wish I could have gotten more of a chance to talk one-to-one with him, because like I said, I know I could have learned a lot.
Well, I think that goes for a lot of people. Because like I said, I was hoping to have him on the show, but things just kind of didn't work out, and it was just, it's unfortunate, but it's, and to lose a guy like that. But we're looking forward with stuff, and I'm glad you've been able to tell me I may have a shot at the Brampton tournament if the Wallaceburg goes through. But I know we had some issues with getting this year going, but I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and talk. And I know that we will be talking again about some more wins and maybe an ACL Canada Championship for at least the singles in your future.
Well, thanks a lot, Doug. I appreciate all of that. It's been a pleasure to be on and to talk with you today. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future in cornhole. I'm just absolutely, especially with the border opening. I'm just, yeah. What can I say? I mean, I'm just looking forward to all of it.
Well, now that you're in that end of the province as well, too, there's all that stuff in the Detroit area that you can maybe hop over to play in.
Absolutely, that was the biggest reason why I made this move, so I could be, just hop across the border to Detroit and go there. It's still going to be a little tricky with COVID. I mean, day trips are going to be a bit of an issue, I think, for a little while. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent up in Michigan. I know Windsor, they've been talking about how they got whacked down there right before COVID was declared a pandemic.
Yeah.
So I mean, seeing me come around, they want to go down there again and see how much they've gotten better, how will they measure up against those guys now.
Well, hopefully, I'm hearing that in November we're going to be able to cross the border by not playing. So hopefully that'll be able to get you over there. But again, once again, thanks for coming on. I think this is now your third time on, so I think you're now like third behind Pitcher and Trey. So you're getting up there. So again, thanks for coming on and talking, and hopefully we can see you at an live event again sometime soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Doug. I appreciate that. I mean, I always enjoy doing these interviews. It's always fun, and yeah, I mean, I definitely want to. I definitely look forward to any live events, seeing whoever I can, whenever I can.
Okay, and again, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem, Doug. Thanks for having me.
And I want to thank Dean for coming on and doing that there. It's always, now that he's away, it always is great to talk with him, catch up with him on what he's doing. But just seeing that, a couple ways that he was able to change his game after talking to some of the pros down in Rock Hill at the ACL Finals, because so we call it the ACL Finals. And so, yeah, so a couple things to remember coming up here. We got the ACL Canada Regional in Ontario here. Will be November 6th. I know I didn't get a chance to say the results from the past weekend here. There was a regional in St. John's with the ACL Canada Atlantic division. So or Atlantic Conference, sorry, Maritimes Conference. I will get those results will happen on the next week's show here, or on the next show coming up, which will be out Friday. Trying to think of anything else. Some new leagues that have been popping up here, coming back and getting back online. I want to give it a shout to Dunnville. Dunnville, Ontario has a cornhole league there now. Also, Twin Sault's Cornhole League. They're starting back up at Sioux Blasters. Check them out on Facebook. Twin Sault's Cornhole. They do some great stuff there. If you're in the Niagara area, the Niagara Ninjas Cornhole League starting up again. Check them on Facebook. Give them a like. I know Cynthia there will be happy that anyone did liking her league. She does great things. Been able to know her for a couple years now, and just seeing the way she throws. Great thrower. I know she's got a lot of friends in the Buffalo area that may come over to play now that the border is open both ways if you're vaxxed. So hoping Cynthia does some great things in Niagara. I think she's just looking for a venue. So just check her out on Facebook, Niagara Ninjas Cornhole League, or just Niagara Ninjas. Check her out there and do some stuff. I know the Niagara team has just changed their name to the Ninjas from the in the Sox. So yeah, check them out on Facebook. Give them a like. Let Cynthia know that you heard about it here, and that you're waiting to see what she does there, so you can go and play in the Niagara area. Kind of, I think she'll be in the Niagara Falls area type of thing. But yeah, that'll be great. Some great stuff there. Other than that, that's it. You don't need to hear me rambling on. I did enough on the front half of the show. But next week's show, or this later on here, coming up here in a few days, probably one of the biggest shows I've ever done on here, and I'm excited to do it. I've been kind of pumped for it. But yeah, so big show coming up. We'll say now, don't you dare miss it. A little bit of a hint. But I'm not there, as always. Watch out for those players throwing gas, because they might, well, I know they did last night, kick your ass.